All right. So, good morning, everybody. This is Professor Dave Massack. I'm an Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship. And I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor for it to help you out as much as I possibly can. So I'm going to quickly talk about it. I don't have too much time, but I thought it's an interesting conversation to think about this assumption. Many of us assume that all people are naturally good inside, or we're naturally similar inside, but you have to really think about what is going on there, right? Like, that's a pretty strong assumption to assume most people are naturally good, or most people are well intentioned. You have to really think about what is going on with actual people, and it would be unusual to sort of see this in nature, right? And in anything where you assume any characteristic is going to be representative of anything, right? So you think about maybe the legs on a cricket, for example, right? Like, you're going to see differences in legs on a cricket, where there's going to be some that are going to be longer and some that are going to be shorter. But there is kind of like an average age or whatnot, right? If you look at, maybe it is, the the size of a leaf of a certain kind of tree. Well, there's going to be differences in the size of the leaf of the different kind of tree. Now, the same thing kind of goes with individuals, right? And being good is kind of a relative term, in the sense that there is not a moment in time where we can say this is what good actually means. Good means it could be, it changes throughout time. It changes who's in the population. And so there's always going to be some people in a particular population where they're going to be good, and then there's others that are not so good with that. And we have to always assume and think about that most people in a sample, you grab whatever, and it could be your sample that you see every day, right? Like the people that you see every day. It could be the world population. It could be, it could be a randomized sample of the United States or of the UK. Any of these kind of things, if you start looking at it, you're going to start seeing is that there's huge differences between people in virtually every characteristic you can ever imagine. But there is some underlying average that we end up having, right? We do converge to something. But what we have to sort of think about when I think about, like, with that question is, are people good? I would say that people are very self-interested to protect their own well-being. And whatever that is, in order to protect their well-being, whatever that sort of creates in terms of, I'm driving right now. I'm doing the hands-free thing. And I always think it's a wonder that we've got a line in the middle of the road. I remember somebody one of my professors in sociology talking about this years ago. We've got a line in the middle of the road, and what prevents people from just killing everybody on the road, right? Like, just driving all over the place, or what creates that conformity where we know that we should instinctively stay within those particular lines? It's because we're protecting ourselves, right? People are not really caring so much about other people when they're driving. They're worried about themselves. They don't want to get hurt. They don't want to feel that pain. So, in the sense that, people are somewhat good in the sense that they want to protect themselves and don't want to get harmed for it, I'm a big believer of that. But then on the other sense, we see this real diversity in terms of, like, some people are not so good compared to other people. There's real differences in personalities and challenges with them. Go talk to any therapist. They would say that there's real differences between people. You can't give the same treatment to everybody. That's what makes this all very challenging. That's what makes, like, so for example, getting some sort of magic pill, like an antidepressant or something like that, and giving it to like one kind of pill to everybody does not work, because we're all different, and you have to find the right thing that works for you and that sort of can be customized to your body, right? Um, so we have to think about that we all have these inherent differences that are inside, and we have to believe that not all people are good. There are people that are going to take advantage of situations. Um, there are a lot of well-intentioned people in this world that um, that are, decent human beings that are good and sort of well-intentioned. They want to help other people out. Um, but as many people that are like that, there's just as many people that want to sort of take advantage of the situation, maybe harm other people, all sorts of different things like that. And we can't have to get away from this sort of belief. Just in my way, in my view, it's a belief that I think is sort of misplaced, because we have to sort of thinking about, like, how do we actually work real people that do real things, and real people that do real things are weird in a lot of ways. Like, we're all beautifully weird, right? Like, it would be weird to assume that we're all sort of consistent and uniform. We have to believe that everybody is different, and sometimes those differences do create problems. Um, Sometimes they create some wonderful, cool thing, right? Where somebody is doing something that's wonderful and you never imagine. But sometimes it also creates a lot of problems. And so you have to think about, whenever you're doing something in terms of maybe it's a managerial intervention, or maybe you're implementing something, maybe you're creating some software or something like that. You have to assume not that people are all good, they're going to want to sort of do something. You have to assume that people are really weird in many different ways, right? We're all unique, and we all want to go in different directions. And some of us are not well intentioned, right? Like, ask any developers that have been building a big project for a long time, and ask them how many times that they've been, their system has been hacked or threatened to do those kind of things. There are people that are not well intentioned in this world. And we have to think about that, is, how do you create systems? How do you create policies such that you recognize that you want to sort of serve the average person, or serve what the norm is, right? It's not necessarily the average, but what the norm is. But then as well, allow the people that are really well intentioned to do wonderful things, but then also recognize that there are some people that are not necessarily well intentioned, that they maybe they're not well intentioned, is that they just don't want to cooperate, or that they're not well intentioned, that they actually want to harm things. And why people are like that, honestly, it's a huge number of factors that you can't sort of pin down on any one particular thing, right? It could be the way that they grew up. It could be their sort of inherent personality traits that they have, genetics. It could be, experience that they had all throughout life, right? Like, there's just so many different reasons. Um, but we have to stop getting away from believing that all people are good, and start realizing that we're all different. We all have different things that are going on, and sometimes we do things that are not well intentioned, and sometimes we don't. And sometimes some of us do things that are not well intentioned, but mistakenly turn into something that's really, truly amazing and benefits a lot of people. So we have to sort of think about the sort of complications that we have in life, instead of assuming everybody is inherently good. I think we should start thinking of viewing of the world as, kind of what biologists end up looking at when they look at, like, the lengths of a cricket, right? Like, you're going to see huge number of differences between the lengths of a cricket. but or a grasshopper, but then um, but then you're going to see kind of where the sort of norm lies of how long a cricket leg should be, and that's the way that we should be thinking about the world and thinking about other people. So thanks so much for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you every single day. When you come on here, I think it's just wonderful to get to know everybody, and I'm just it's a pleasure to get to know all of you folks. All right, so thanks so much, everybody. Cybershots, Mackie, Mary, Ishmael again, thank you. Empress, Danae, Rachel, Mike, and Cecilia. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate each and every one of you. Go have a good day. All right, take care. Bye.